What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new episode of me watching weird videos with y'all, my viewers, that I appreciate very much. So anyways, without further ado, let's get to the video. Hope you enjoy this episode.
This is why you need to be careful with dating apps. On November 15th, 2017, 24-year-old Sydney Louv decided to meet Bailey Boswell in person after speaking on Tinder for a few days. For their first date, Bailey invited Sydney to come over to her apartment that she shared with her boyfriend Aubrey Trail. 24 minutes after Sydney arrived to the apartment, her phone was turned off and Bailey and her boyfriend Aubrey murdered her and chopped her body into 13 pieces using a saw. This attack was planned by the couple for a while, and there's even surveillance footage of them going into Home Depot and buying the saw and cleaning supplies. They then scattered Sydney's remains along the roads in Clay County, Nebraska, and it was found 3 weeks later. Investigators later found out that the couple talked about gaining power by committing murders and making videos of them torturing people. At the end of it, Bailey was sentenced to life in prison and Aubrey was sentenced to death.
I mean, the way the story was going, you would think they were probably planning on doing a threesome or something, maybe spice up the relationship. But no, they ended up chopping body parts for no reason whatsoever, and now they're in jail forever. Well deserved, and I'm happy about it. And also, this is why I'm single. I ain't trying to get chopped up. You know what I mean? Anyways, let's get back to it.
Here's why you should never carve pumpkins for Halloween. Brett was really excited to carve Halloween pumpkins with his family this year. His whole family had even gone to a pumpkin patch to pick their own pumpkins, and Brett had made sure to get the biggest one he could carry. When the time came to carve pumpkins, his family got everything ready, and Brett started carving into the pumpkin. But once he got past the rind of it, everything started to go wrong. The pumpkin started to smell really bad. It was filling up the whole house, but Brett didn't want the pumpkin to go to waste, and he knew he needed to see what was inside, so he kept carving away at the pumpkin until at last he revealed what was causing that smell, and what he saw made him never want to carve pumpkins ever again. Hit the plus for part 2, it's coming soon.
Lady, what's the point of you showing us all of this if you're just gonna cut it right before the ending? I was getting excited, now you ruined it all. I don't like you anymore.
This girl wore makeup every day for 30 years and you won't believe what doctors discovered. Carly would never go a day without wearing makeup starting at just 16 years old. She was never satisfied even when she spent hours putting on makeup. She always wanted more. She said that she felt prettier with makeup and it boosted her confidence. Carly was a model for some of the biggest companies and they would force her to wear makeup for every photo shoot. But things started to change for her after 30 years. Her skin was starting to peel and getting crusty. She noticed this for months until one day she woke up with extreme pain on her face. When she looked in the mirror, she found her face had become practically flesh and bone because her skin had peeled off so much. She was rushed to the hospital after collapsing on the floor. The doctors took one look at her face in the hospital and couldn't believe what they saw. Hit the plus for part 2, it's coming soon.
The funny thing about the last clip is that the TikToker telling us about the story of the girl who wore makeup and ended up in the hospital literally has a face full of makeup and wears makeup every day in her videos. I'm just stating what I saw. There's nothing wrong with makeup. I'm not judging her. I just found it funny how she's literally describing herself. Anyways.
World's rarest items. Discovered in 2003, the Rainbow Virgin Opal literally glows in the dark and is worth well over $1 million. The darker the room, the more vibrant it is said to be. One of the most sought-after signatures in the entire world is that of William Shakespeare. With only 6 of his signatures known in the world today, your odds of getting one are non-existent.
These are dirty facts about history that will blow your mind, part 2. Up first, Lewis and Clark kept journals detailing the violent diarrhea that they and their fellow explorers had. The explorers did not take a physician with them, and it showed. They graphically recorded all of their challenges, which also included chefed thighs, boils, and mosquito bites. One team member even died from his diarrhea. Next up, when Edgar Allan Poe was 27 years old, he married his 13-year-old cousin. They lived together in a public home before they were publicly married in 1836. Her age was listed at 21, and she died at 24. Many people believe his book called The Raven was inspired by her illness and death. Finally, King Tut was actually mummified with a boner. When his embalmed body was discovered, his penis stood upright. They say he was buried like this to symbolize the political struggle of Egypt at the time.
Man, like, I don't even know what to say. Imagine, like, literally being the face of ancient Egypt and passing away with an erection. I mean, out of all the ways you could have died, you die with a hard schlong. I mean, that's weird. I'm sorry, I'm making fun of you. I don't care. You weird, Mr. Egypt boy.
Zhang Rufang is over 100 years old, but a few years back, something strange happened. She started growing a horn on her head. It started small, but it's grown to over 6 centimeters over the years. And now she's even growing a second horn on the other side. Doctors have offered to freely remove it, but she always says no. Zion Clark was born with a disease that caused the lower half of his body to stop growing. But this didn't stop him from training to become a professional athlete. Today, he's a pro wrestler, and he even competes against people who are twice his own weight. He's also appeared on multiple TV shows and even starred in his own Netflix documentary. Finally, this is Javier from Guatemala. He has an unknown condition that causes his head to grow uncontrollably and makes his voice incredibly deep. Despite this, he's lived a normal life and graduated high school.
I do feel a little bad for the grandma. Imagine living 90 years as a regular lady, and once you start hitting your 90s, you suddenly start to turn into Hellboy. Like, why would she grow horns out of her skull? That's weird.
This small Santa Claus was also Toronto's scariest serial killer. 67-year-old Bruce MacArthur murdered 8 men in downtown Toronto from 2010 to 2018. He was previously married with a woman and had 2 children with her, but little did they know about his double life. Many people who knew Bruce described him as sweet and outgoing, and they never imagined he would do something like this. In 2010, gay men in Toronto began going missing, and unfortunately, after some time, their cases stopped getting so much attention. Bruce first met these men on dating apps, and when he met them in person, he took their lives. He targeted marginalized men, which in this case were gay men of color. He strangled them and then dismembered their bodies and then put their body parts in planters. Bruce even took photos of his victims when they were alive and then deceased. This is one of his victims who got away after almost being murdered by Bruce. In 2018, police began discovering dismembered body parts of some of the 8 missing men on the property of one of Bruce's clients who hired him as a landscaper. And finally, in 2019, Bruce pleaded guilty to first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison.
Man, I'm speechless. I mean, my man right here is literally the worst Santa Claus you'll ever come across and ever hear of. I mean, logically think about it, shouldn't we call him Satan Claus instead of Santa Claus based on the things that he did? I mean, that man is weird. And he's married with children. I mean, I can only imagine how the family feels. They have a murderous Santa daddy. I'm done.
German police are still searching for the Cookie Monster. In October, a speed camera captured this image of someone dressed as the Cookie Monster driving a car in Dortmund that was going 10 miles over the speed limit. The car was registered to a 57-year-old man who the police went to talk to, but under German law, he had no obligation to give them any extra information, which he understandably didn't do, because if he had admitted to being the one wearing the Cookie Monster costume, or if he told them who was, they would have gotten an extra $64 ticket for wearing a mask while driving on top of the $43 speeding fine.
I don't care who you are, if you try to come for me dressed up as a Cookie Monster, not only am I not gonna take you seriously, but I'm beating you up, buddy.
The weirdest laws in the world. Alright, so in Ohio, it's illegal to get a fish drunk. Why am I not surprised with this? And it's illegal to fight in public after 6 p.m. on a Thursday in Florida. Who comes up with these laws? Next, in Scotland, you can go to jail if you say no to someone if they want to use your toilet. That's kind of weird. And in Italy, it's illegal to be sad in public unless you're going to a hospital or to a funeral. So I guess you better stay home if you're sad. And finally, in Thailand, you're going to jail if you're leaving the house without an underwear on. I think that's a pretty good one. What do you think?
I mean, don't let them boys catch you being sad or crying in Italy. They gonna slap you with a pizza. Damn.
18-year-old was murdered by accident when he tried to defend his mother from her boyfriend. In the early morning of March 24th, 39-year-old Houston Morris and his girlfriend, whose name has not been released, were arguing until things got physical. During the fight, Houston strangled her, hit her with a metal pipe and a bed frame. In an attempt to defend herself, she grabbed a knife from under the bed, but he managed to take it away from her. Houston then tried to stab her with a knife, but he missed, and instead he hit her 13-year-old son, Isaac Hoff, who was standing right behind her. Isaac at this point is bleeding out, so he calls police and he tells them that his mother is being attacked. When officers arrived, they found him lying in a pool of blood in the kitchen floor, and he later passed away in the hospital. Isaac's mother was found with multiple cuts, bruises, and bite marks, and her 1-year-old daughter was also found with blood all over her. Houston pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and he's now being held at the Renville County Jail.
This is why you should never touch a dead whale. The dead whale right here, and it just exploded. Yeah.
Hello, my friend. While it's true that deceased whales sometimes explode after washing up on shore, the video you showed was of something else. This is from 1970 when humans exploded a whale using dynamite. Now, washed up whales do sometimes explode due to the gases building up within the body. It just looks a little different, in my opinion, a lot worse. But before I show you that, I'm just letting you know I am dropping a longer video on the tube soon. Of course, those on my Discord will get to see it first. I'm going to give you a warning now in case you don't like looking at this sort of stuff. But yeah, when whales explode, it usually looks something like this. In 2004, there was a really bad one in Taiwan. I won't show you images that are too graphic, but basically the guts of this whale were covered across the street.
Scariest Internet Urban Legends, Part 1. Today, let's talk about Candle Cove. Candle Cove is a really creepy television show that a lot of people remember watching as a kid. It all started when somebody posted on a forum asking if anyone else remembered this show. They just thought it was a fever dream. But that's when hundreds of people responded saying they too remember watching this show. And that's when they realized how disturbing the show truly was. Basically, the show revolved around a girl named Janice and her imaginary pirate puppet friends. One of the characters was named the Skin Taker. He was a skeleton that would wear a cape made out of children's skin. Here's where it gets even more weird. One man, after stumbling upon this forum, decided to ask his mom if she remembered the show as well. Now, she did remember the show because whenever her son would watch Candle Cove, he would just sit in front of a static TV for 30 minutes straight. So to kids, they were watching this strange show, but all adults could see was static. Do you remember the show?
No, actually, I haven't watched this show, and I'm very proud of it because you know why? I ain't trying to know nothing about this show. I don't want to watch it. I don't want to listen to it. I don't want to see it. Keep it away from me. Thank you.
Are real-life gadgets that will give you superpowers. Everybody wishes they could fly, and someone might have invented something that could actually make that a reality. The Swiss aviator Rossi invented a jet-powered wing pack, which lets its wearer fly high into the sky. It uses materials that are usually for commercial jets. It costs $190,000 to make, and it could go as fast as 190 miles per hour. Next, if you ever wanted a bulletproof suit, now you can actually have one. This Kevlar suit is made from carbon nanotubes that harden as soon as bullets hit them. They're so strong that not even a knife can cut through it, and the only way to cut it open is with a bandsaw. It's also 50% lighter than a regular bulletproof vest, and it covers more of the body, so you'll be basically indestructible. And if you ever wanted super hearing, this mic might finally be the answer to your prayers. The molar mic hooks onto your back teeth, and it'll allow you to hear any conversation no matter how loud the surrounding area is. You can also hear conversations from very far away. But just remember that only you can hear them and they can't hear you because it'll look like you're talking to yourself if you reply.
What is this supposed to be? A haunted warehouse? There goes a demon right there. No, thank you. Man, close the door. Dummy.
These are random laws in the world that you probably didn't know about. In Denmark, when you have a baby, you have to name it within the 33,000 government-approved names, meaning you can't name your baby whatever you want. In Utah, you are not allowed to throw fecal matter at anyone. Why is it only illegal in Utah? Why? In France, it is illegal to drive without a breathalyzer in your glove box. They introduced this in 2012 in hopes of reducing the amount of drunk drivers. I love this law. They should have this literally everywhere. In Oshawa, Ontario, you can be fined up to $250 if you climb a tree without a climbing permit. $250 to climb a tree. In Russia, it is illegal to drive a dirty car. They need to be able to see your license plate. I completely agree with this one. In the UK, according to their 1986 Salmon Act, it is illegal to hold a salmon in a suspicious manner. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. If I want to hold a salmon, I'm holding it with both hands and I'm squeezing it. Who's gonna stop me? What's wrong with holding salmons? Come on, nah.
How long you would survive in these conditions? Part 2. No sleep, 10 days. Being buried alive, 2 hours. Blue-ringed octopus bite, 30 minutes. Electric chair, 2 minutes. Nuclear blast, 1 second.
Don't ever use a public bathroom again. This, my friends, is Akamata. Plus, drop a like, tag a friend, or she might get you. Akamata is a Japanese ghost that haunts and kills people in public bathrooms. They said that she'll walk up to you and ask you a series of questions. These are extremely important. The most important question being, would you rather choose red or blue? If you choose red, she'll chop you up into a million pieces. If you choose blue, she'll choke you to death until your face is blue. If you try to avoid the question entirely and choose a different color, she will drag you to hell to be never seen again. My question to you guys is it worth not waiting till you get home?
I mean, Hakata, Makata, whatever her name is, you come for me, I'm whooping you, and I'm beating you up. It's basically the same thing, because you deserve it. You come at me with a samurai sword and this red robe on, you're getting whooped.
How hard you... This creepy doll will always find and come back to you, no matter how hard you try to get rid of it. In 2013, a girl received an Elsa doll as her Christmas gift, but it was haunted. The doll had a little necklace that when you press it would make it speak, but after 2 years, it started speaking in Spanish. Once they had had the doll for 6 years, they realized they hadn't changed the batteries once, and it would talk even when turned off. So the family said, we're getting rid of this doll, and trashed it. But then 2 weeks later, they found the doll hiding in a bench back inside their house. Now feeling creeped out, they took the doll, put it in 2 bags, left it out for the garbage man, and watched him take it away. Then went out to go grab something from the store, and when they got home, the same doll was waiting for them in their backyard. So they took the doll and sent it to a friend in Minnesota, and thankfully it hasn't come back since.
I don't care what them dolls been doing to other people. That's on them. When it comes to me personally, Neon the One, if them dolls try to come for me, I'm burning them with acid and fire. You ain't getting me. And if you try, you're getting burnt. Man, I probably manifested it. I'm scared now.
Scariest mythical creatures in the world. From Japan. Tick tick. From Puerto Rico. Chupacabra. From the ocean. Cthulhu. From Arizona. Skinwalker. From the ocean. Mermaid. From Canada. Wendigo.
Map. I wish that skinwalker from Arizona would. I'm burning the whole desert. I wish you would, Arizona Walker. Try me. Everything burning. Do skinwalkers exist anyways? Man, I'm worrying for no reason. I'm tripping.
It will change the way you see the world. This map shows the percentages of how many US adults don't get enough exercise. The dark blue areas are less than 10%, while the dark orange areas are 50% or more. This map shows roughly where all of the uncontacted tribes in South America live. This map shows the percentage of how much each US state is occupied by cornfields, with Iowa being the highest at over 36%. This map map shows how many liters of alcohol an average person drinks in each country annually. The lightest areas are near zero, while the darkest areas are 10 to 13 liters a year. This map shows the difference between cat countries and dog countries. The darkest green countries have more cats, and the darkest purple countries have more dogs. You can see with this chart here how many Dunkin' Donuts locations there are in each US state. The white areas have 0 locations, while the dark brown have the most, with some of them over 1,000 locations in that state.
Man, I never understand these types of videos. Like, what is this supposed to be? Like, someone tell me, like, are we looking for demons or what? You probably should have stayed home. Man.
This is the Devil's Castle, and it's one of the scariest places on Earth. It's located in a small town in Mexico. Its actual name is Castillo del Diablo, and it was built by a painting contractor named Tony Wells. He spent almost $4 million on the castle, and it's become a worldwide attraction. In the castle, you can find coffins, creepy mannequins, and gargoyles. Wells has a collection of over 800 swords and knives, and about 350 beautiful antique mirrors. Even though Tony does not believe in Satan, would you dare spend a night in this place?
This Inuit tribe crafted tools out of space metal. 10,000 years ago, this meteorite landed in the Arctic in northern Greenland. An entire Inuit community sprang up around it just to make tools from the iron in the meteorite, which resulted in badass stuff like this, a spear made from a narwhal tusk tipped with space metal. They didn't even have enough wood to make fires to actually forge the metal, so they had to cold forge it, just hammering it with giant stones until it was the right shape. The tools were so valuable, they were traded as far away as Norway.
Orbit facts about World War I that will give you nightmares. During the First World War, Canadians were obsessed about killing Germans, and many of them went against the truce laws by pretending to show mercy to those who surrendered, only to change their mind later on and shoot them unknowingly. During the war, sometimes soldiers would throw cans of food over trenches, so the starving soldiers would rush to grab the canned food, but little did they know that grenades were waiting for them as well. In the northeastern part of France, there are still some areas that are off limits to the public because they are still full of unexploded chemicals such as mustard gas and many others.
Maps that will change the way you see the world. This map shows the 2020 election results with counties being scaled by how many votes were cast. This map shows what the results of the 1984 presidential election looked like by county. These are the depression rates by country, where the dark red is the most depressed and the dark blue is the least depressed. All 5 different areas that are colored on this map of Brazil have the same population. This map shows what the US Senate vote looked like when passing the 1965 Voting Rights Act. Sweden fits inside the entire country of Chad. These are the countries that produce the most serial killers, and if you look at this list here, the United States is by far the highest. Every red county on this map of the United States is where at least 10% of the population is Native American. This map shows the German language areas before and after the World Wars, so the dark blue is where the German language is mostly spoken today, and the light blue, including the dark blue, is where the German language was spoken before World War I. Disturbing facts that might ruin your day. There have been at least 2 fatal plane crashes due to wasps. We are all spending more than 6 hours a day on our phones, which is more than 25% of our entire existence. There are job applications out there that are only for collecting data. This is why large companies have positions that they never actually seem to hire. This wildlife painter from the 1800s would eat all of the birds that he painted. Bald eagles, owls, sparrows, robins, whooping cranes. 5,000 mail carriers are attacked by dogs every year. A 6-year-old's family thought he was too friendly with strangers, so they had a coworker that was a stranger to the boy hold him in a truck for 4 hours before lecturing him about stranger danger. Half of all plastic in the world has been created in the last 15 years. Crayons have a derivative of beef fat called stearic acid that is also what gives it its waxy smell. Loneliness can be as harmful to somebody's health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day.
Man, I'm still thinking about that video where they were talking about the fact that it's illegal for you to get caught crying, or like you can't be sad in Italy. them boys gonna smack you with a pizza. They gonna whoop you. You can't be sad over there. I'm not saying I believe it, but I kind of do. Yeah, I guess I won't be visiting Italy anytime soon. I ain't trying to get smushed with a pepperoni. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, video's over. I don't know why I'm stuttering. Hope you enjoyed the video. It was kind of weird, but that's the whole point of these videos anyways. So yeah, I guess I'll see you on the next one. Don't miss me too much. I know I'm the best thing you've ever seen. Nah, I'm just playing. I don't want to sound cocky. But anyways, I truly hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, y'all. Have a nice day.